From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Scott Wright. Scott, time of possession is one of those interesting stats that people look at, but lots of times in Oklahoma State's games, it doesn't really make much difference if they are way ahead in time of possession or way behind, because that offense can score so quickly. But on Saturday against TCU, time of possession, especially as it swung so early, became a big deal. First of all, how did it affect things in your mind with the way that game played out on Saturday?
Well, from the very beginning, it had an impact because Oklahoma State's offense couldn't stay on the field or couldn't score. They had trouble. They had an early punt, and they did have one long touchdown that was a quick drive. You're getting the defense back on the field quickly, and then TCU was maintaining these long drives, and even though they were only getting field goals, the defense was out there for so much, and it was a frustrating feeling because the offense couldn't get in any rhythm. If the offense is clicking and they're going out and scoring quickly like they're accustomed to, it's not such a big deal. The defense has the depth to handle being out there a long time, but it just became a frustrating situation for them because they were giving up some points, and the offense was turning around and having some struggles. So it became an issue from the beginning, and then it stretched on into the game where the offense was never finding a rhythm.
Yeah, and it was a hot day, and on the snowball went. The big question, we saw how it played out on Saturday. The big question is this something that future opponents could potentially try to replicate and really use time of possession against Oklahoma State? Or was this just something that TCU, took advantage of as the game went, maybe just a one-time thing?
It'll be interesting because teams can see what happened and try to replicate it. The question is whether they have the skill to replicate it. TCU has a really strong defense and was able to attack Oklahoma State in some different ways, really stop the run without having to commit a lot of players to stop the run, which helped to keep that time of possession down. And then they were able to run the ball and keep the drives going, keep the clock running, and run up their time of possession. So it became a question of Oklahoma State not being able to get their defense off the field on third down, not being able to run the ball, which Oklahoma State fans were getting frustrated at some of the run plays, but they had favorable numbers in a lot of those situations. They just couldn't make the plays. So if a defense can find a way to stop the run and to run the ball and keep the clock moving, then yes, it can be replicated. But I don't know that there's a lot of teams in the Big 12 that are really designed to be able to do that the way that TCU did.
I was going to say, it sounds, you don't want to say perfect storm because, every team has its fault lines. But if it was TCU's strengths against where maybe OSU had its weaknesses, maybe you don't see that alignment so much anymore as the season goes on?
Right, exactly. I mean, you think about the teams that they're going to face in the Big 12. There's not a lot of teams that are looking to run the ball as much as what TCU did. They had just as much rushing yardage as they did passing yardage, and not a lot of teams are focused on that type of balance. They're focused on the type of balance that gets them enough running yardage to open up the passing game so that they can go for crazy yards there, like Oklahoma State does. And then you don't see a lot of defenses that are designed to stop the run, and because so many of them have to face the passing games that you see in the Big 12. So it's TCU is a little bit of a different animal than a lot of Big 12 teams right now.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it plays out on Saturday at Texas Tech. Out in Lubbock. I don't think TCU and Texas Tech are quite in the same mold, but we'll see how that time of possession battle plays out Saturday night in Lubbock. That game is on Fox. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.